Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you my process for scanning in your artwork, editing it, and not just editing it to make it look better, but also how to fix mistakes easily and effortlessly. So all those pieces they threw away for something small, let's fix them up. So I use an Epson Perfection V600 photo scanner, and it's amazing for watercolors. It might be a little too expensive for you if you're just a hobbyist, but if you're a professional artist or want to be a professional artist or want to sell prints, I highly recommend it. But even if your scanner is not that good, don't worry, you can still use it to make beautiful art. All of these positive works of art that I made were scanned in with like a really old scanner, like almost a decade old. And I would just edit the hell out of it. I would just, do the same things I'm going to show you right now, but it would just make it so saturated and everyone thought, oh, your colors are so bright. But no, I was using really cheap watercolors back then. So the magic of Photoshop is real, guys. It doesn't matter how crappy your scanner is or if your paints are cheap, you can still make it look amazing just by using Photoshop. All right, so let's start. So everyone's scanner will be a little different. This is my Epson scanner. This is what this looks like. There's a preview area. You can click preview and it'll show exactly what's on your scanner right now. And you can even put a bounding box around it. This is actually in most scanners nowadays. And this just means you're going to scan only this box. And you can always add more if you had like a couple things on your scanner, like small things. That's really useful. So the most important setting on your scanner is the DPI. The higher this is, the better quality your image will be, and the easier it'll be to resize it to even larger sizes without losing quality. I usually scan in at 1200, but this does take up a lot of memory, especially since I save as a TIFF file. You can scan in at 300 if it's not that serious and if you're just going to share it on social media or a picture on your website. But to be safe, at least go to 600. 600 is the optimal resolution and you won't really go wrong with that. I'm really just being a little crazy here with my 1200. I don't really tweak any other settings, but you can if you want to. That's up to you. And the next most important thing is the file type to save it as. So TIFF is the best one. It's going to be the biggest file size, and if you don't like that, maybe your scanner lets you save as a PNG, or maybe you can just scan it as a TIFF and then resave it as a PNG for it to be smaller. But these are lossless. That means that every time you resave it, it's not going to lose quality, unlike a JPEG. 'Cause if you resave a JPEG, it's going to lose quality every time. So TIFF is the best, and I recommend that. So that's it. That's really all I do. Okay, so we have our file opened up in Photoshop. This is exactly what we scanned in, and I want to show you guys the quality. Pretty nice. So everything I'm about to show you applies to new and old scanners. It doesn't matter what you have. The same rules will apply, but you'll have a more drastic change with the older models. Go to Image, Adjustments, and then Curves. This is how I usually start my editing process. I just pick the white one right here, and I click on the background until I pick up the darkest part of the paper. And this will make the background completely white like it's supposed to be. If you have an older scanner, the background might be darker to start with, so you're going to have a bigger drastic change and more saturated colors. You can really play with that in the curves, but usually you'd want the background to be completely white, and this is what really gives it that special like digital, like no background feeling. If you had some black in your piece, you could always also use the black eyedropper and just click it and hit the black parts and it will make it black for you. This is just correcting the colors. So as you can see, this really brightened up our image and made it look more like real life. If you want to up the contrast even more, you can go to Image, Adjustment, and then Levels. So here you can make your lights lighter and your darks darker if you want to. I don't really want to do this because my scanner is already really good quality and I want it to stay, like realistic. But you can, if you want to, especially if your scanner lost a lot of saturation. You can also do this with curves again, the same tool I just showed earlier. You can just put it down a little and then nudge it up and it will give the same effect. As you can see, it's much more saturated. In fact, I usually do add a little bit of this just to give it that little pop. Up next is Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. Now this can be really fun to play with. You want to just tweak your colors a tiny bit. You can go in either direction and it will change the whole color palette. I really like playing with this just a tiny bit because if you go too far out, it just looks weird. It's really up to you if you want to play with this or not. I usually don't unless I really don't like the colors in my image or they could be a little better. And you can also up the saturation here a little bit if you want to. And I kind of do because this is such a rainbow piece, so let's just up it a little bit. One more thing I like to play with to make the colors cooler is Image Adjustments, Color Balance. So this is a great one to play with. You just do the midtones and shadows. You can just see what happens when you pull the levers. They'll bring out certain colors more and mute others more. And it's just fun to play with and gives you a nice feel to your piece. Like, let's say I want it to be more blue, I can do that, or more purple. So this is what I usually do just to up the contrast, make my background white, and just make the image look more pleasing. One more thing that you can do is click this little circle here in your layers panel, and you can click on anything you like and play with it and just apply it to certain parts of your piece. So for example, we can make this lighter, right? But I don't want this to be the whole image. I just hit Control I, and then I can paint in with a white brush, make sure it's white, any part that I want to be lighter, and it will make that part lighter. So this is kind of cheating, but hey, you know, that's the point of mixing digital and not digital art. But I don't really use this a lot, but you can. Okay, so now that we talked about playing with the colors and making saturation better and all that, let's talk about fixing mistakes. So as you can see here, I have a smudge of my white gel pen, and this is very easily fixed. I just use this clone stamp tool. Oh, look at that. It has a little tutorial for it. How cute. You can change your brush size, and you just hold Alt and do this. So it just paints in whatever you sample from. So you can easily erase things, but also something I like to use even more is I just select the whole part and then Edit, Fill, Content Aware. And this will usually do it right, but sometimes it doesn't. You have to retry a couple times for it to pick up what you're trying to say. Like, let's see if it messes up here. Oh no, it didn't. Pretty good. So really just a combination of that and the stamp tool. So there, no more mistake. Perfect. Now if you have a mistake with like the shape of something, let's say I want this to be more rounded, like this sticks out a little too much, and it kind of does, I can go to Filter, Liquify. Just make your brush really big, as big as the shape you want to move, and just use this. That's it. Super simple. You can see the effect here. It's not that noticeable, but it's huge. It really makes a huge difference. Also, if you get confused about what your image looks like, just put down the zoom and look at it at a smaller size. When you look at something at a smaller size, you can see the bigger picture. So for example, I kind of want to liquefy a little bit right here too. So let's just do that. Perfect. And of course, if you really need to erase something, make sure you have a background layer that's white. So let's unlock this, because it's not going to let us do anything if we don't, and make a new layer by clicking this and just move it under and fill it in with white. And now I can easily erase things I don't want in the image. Because we already made the background completely white on our horse, it doesn't matter if I erase something since it's a white background. You can zoom in and delete any dust specks or anything like that. You should always clean your scanner bed so you don't get those. But if you do, just zoom in and get them out with the erase tool. Super simple. The last thing I do is crop my image to the right proportions, and it's usually a square because that's the perfect one for Instagram. So I just crop it, and then I can use the move tool to move it around. Since we already have a white background, we can do it any way we want to. So I just kind of center it, make sure. You can use your little keyboard arrows to make it perfect. And notice how there's like a lot of empty space here and some here, but there's more here. I can always just go in and move some of the stars with the lasso tool. So just select it and move it over just to fill up that empty space. So as you can see, I use super simple tools to make my artwork better. And this is not cheating, guys. This is not cheating. It's okay to use digital stuff to make your traditional work look better. When you're ready to export your image, I would save it as the same file format you had, just keep the original. You can go to image size and just change the size of it and then save it. But it's much better to go File, Export, Save for Web if you want to post it on any social media or your website. So all you have to do is just wait for it to load and then just change it to maybe, let's say, 1080 by 1080. And it will update it. And you can see in the preview images like what it will look like. So you can see the quality is lower on this JPEG than on this original, but it's very good on the PNG. So that's why I usually like to save my files as PNGs. But even as a JPEG, you can change the quality to maximum and it will still be pretty good. It's just the problem with JPEGs is every time you resave it, the quality goes down, but it doesn't matter so much for uploading to the web. So it's up to you. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it really helped you out, and I can't wait to see you use these techniques to make your art look even better. Remember that this is not cheating. It's okay to use technology to make traditional art look better, especially since it's so easy to make mistakes with traditional art. So give yourself a break and scan in your work and make it look better and cooler and more saturated, and just fix your mistakes and whatever. So yeah, don't throw away those pieces with small mistakes. You can easily fix them. I hope this video will help you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.